Bah! I am actually here as a voiceover. Hello, good morning, afternoon, evening, night, wherever you are, whenever you are watching this. If you don't know me, my name's Leah, and I've never done a voiceover for a time lapse before, so you have to bear with me. I've also never written a video script ever, so I'm sorry if this is awkward or if I'm doing badly. But I did ask you guys if you wanted an explanation for this specific time lapse or not, and you said yes, so this is what you're signing up for. This video gets special treatment because, it's not just a drawing video, it's time lapse of my birthday present for Azami, Izumida, also known as my stupid son, who I insult quite a lot, but I still love him very much. You guys may know Live2D from how VTubers these days use Live2D and face tracking for their avatars, but you can do other things with Live2D. You can do regular animation with Live2D. The difference is here I am making this illustration without the consideration that this will be moved by face tracking software, so I can just draw the parts that I want to move, and that's about it. As I start from sketching like normal earlier, and I use 3-point perspective, which it's just TLDR, it's a high angle, so I have to use 3-point perspective. Perspective is another can of worms, I can't get into it. But earlier I already sketched an Azami, but I had to re-sketch the entire thing because I know I got the perspective wrong if it's just eyeballing. So I made a ruler, Clip Studio, thank you Clip Studio Paint, I recommend everything Clip Studio Paint has. And then from here on you just draw the illustration like, not exactly like normal, because you do have to separate all the parts that you want to move, which is the really tedious part. Here's what I'm doing here, that's what I recommend. You should probably draw it while separating the colors immediately, so that you know which layers on the behind what and which layers on the front. And in general, it just helped me, like color mapping like this when I'm doing Live2D, it really helps me know which parts which, just because like it helps me control and know which parts that I do want to move. After you color it like this, you could always just clip a layer above it to color it, but at the very least, if you're doing this, you already have an idea of which parts will move, which parts will be covered. Sometimes you're gonna draw details in parts that are gonna be covered anyway because it's on the bottom layer, but c'est la vie, that's just how it is. Again, another thing I'd like to note is just if you're drawing a Live2D illustration, it is similar to drawing a model. So maybe if you have experience drawing a VTuber model, you'd have an idea of what you're doing, but also you are not obligated to separate everything on this illustration unless you want to move that part. So like, if you're not insane like me, I don't recommend separating every finger like I did in this video. I know I did that, that's because I'm stubborn and I want to see his individual fingers move in animation. No one's even going to look at that detail, but I am looking there. So, I do it as much as it satisfies me. But if you're sane, I think you probably would draw the hand in just one layer. See, all of these layers, you should name them. I'm warning you, you should name them. But instead of naming the layers, I think you should name the groups that each part is on, because that way you can just click merge selected layers at the end and it'll automatically be named that way. Also, I am stupid, and before this specific work, I never tried using the select layer tool that Clip Studio has. It's so useful when you're drawing illustrations for Live2D because there's so many parts and you don't know which layers which. Please don't, please just use it. It saved my life. Please just use it. I worked on this for like, the drawing itself is so much longer than the moving on Live2D, and I spent like maybe, I had a 7-hour stream. This is an unlisted stream. I had a 7-hour stream and I had another 7-hour stream after that, or maybe 11, I forgot. But that's how long it took me to draw this, just because it has so much details. This is basically just a regular time lapse at this point, because I don't know what else to explain other than the fact that I have to do this layer one by one, which is what's tedious and what's taking so long. If this was a painting, it would just be finished. I felt a little bad because, you know, every year I do a big video for Muku for his birthday, and Azami's birthday is in autumn. That's after summer, so I always run out of energy after making Muku's video to do anything big for Azami. This year I learned Live2D and I thought, you know what, Azami, I'm sorry, you're my son too, I love you too. I'll make you something a little better this year. So the conclusion was Live2D. It just... Also, I'm sorry if I'm bad at explaining. There's literally nothing to explain here. I am just doing tedious work, and I'm pretty sure at this moment I was singing like an idiot, because that's the only thing that keeps me slightly distracted enough to keep working, but not distracted enough that I don't stop drawing it. I guess the stream cut there. Oh, and here you see me draw a totally different Azami. Well, taking breaks is important, folks, but maybe stop drawing if you're tired instead of drawing another drawing like this bitch over here, because because your hands need a break too. Damn, girl, stop. This is a speed paint, so you can't see it, but at this point it's like around 7 hours of work, and my hands has been moving for that long, so I only put it on an unlisted stream so that my friends can monitor me and I don't stop working, because I started like 3 days before his birthday, which is not a good thing either. You should just not do that. But I do recommend working while screen sharing with other people. Well, like working together, maybe on Discord and stuff like that. It always keeps me working, and it's nice to chat with friends in general all the time. Well, this part is just me rendering. Like I said earlier, a bunch of this is just gonna be me rendering for a while. But rendering is really annoying when each part is separate. I definitely think so too. Especially, you know, I am someone who puts filters on top of my drawings after I finish them. And when it's a Live2D, you can't exactly put filters on top, like overlays or like multiply. You can't really do that. Because the Live2D program itself, they don't have anything other than the normal layer and the multiply layer, which means that if you want anything other than multiply, like if you want overlay or something, what I ended up doing is that I had to copy the overlay layer itself over every single layer part, and I merge it down so that everything has like the equal amount of filter on top. It's ass backwards, and I have to go through hoops to find the right color first, and then finally color. Oh god, she's eating Indomie. Oh my god, she's eating Indomie. and then you have to merge it, so you have to really kind of know what you want. It's hard to fix stuff once you already get through around the end. Especially when it comes to colors, you can't change it around as easily as a regular illustration. I had like a long while where I was just sitting there and could not decide which filter, which color looks better, because I know I'm gonna have to merge it to every single part after that. I'm someone who relies way too much on gradient maps too, which is not good. I should go learn my color theory. This has just become me crying about me not knowing colors. But okay, the effect that I wanted to do on this drawing is I just wanted to give it the feel like there is this premium cut. You know, when the illustration moves just because it can move. It just brings life to the illustration a little bit. So I just wanted to have all the items floating around and some wind over at Azami's hair and the bamboo and stuff like that. Because this card set, it has so many small details and items. It has so much memories about each card that I felt like each of the items is going to be dear to Azami in some way because it brought him to where he is now. Okay, I won't gush about Azami because that I already had a whole stream where I did that, and this is supposed to be me explaining how I drew this. I don't know, man. This part is just rendering. I can't say much about this. Okay, look, I'm separating the colors again like I did. At this point, I'm pretty sure this is the third day when I started doing all the other items. Which is like the day right before Azami's birthday. Oh, okay, now it's the third day. I can see because every time the sheep appears, that was my ending screen. I knew that the Live2D itself, when you're moving it, it doesn't actually take that long, especially when you're already used to Live2D, because all you need to do is you make parameters on anything, basically on anything, and you just move, like put in the movement that you want to see, and then you just make an animation file and you put those keyframes in. Rigging for a VTuber model, you have to kind of consider what it will look like with a bunch of parameters on it, like it would look up and upper right, upper left, lower left, and stuff like that. But you don't necessarily have to do that with this. You just have to make the parts that you want to animate look good. For example, like I knew that I wanted to just animate Azami having a teethy smile, and that's it. So all I did with his mouth was just give it a teethy smile, and that's all I need to rig. I don't need all of the other parts, especially if I'm not going to show it in the animation. Okay, here we're already moving to Live2D, but before this, I will remind everyone I recommend to save a separate PSD file before you start merging all of the layers, because if you have a mistake and you can't go back, that's gonna be troublesome. So just remember that. I know because whenever I'm in the middle of rigging, I will always find a problem with my art somewhere and I need to update the PSD, and if you don't have the clip file, sometimes that's troublesome. See, like I said here before, the only parts that I'm moving, I even sometimes use just one parameter even if I don't care about drawing that much. So this part, you make a new animation file. The thing about making an animation file is like your model updates at the same time as that you're editing the animation file. The animation file you can make a video with it, or you can make one of those just motions that a model can have. In this case, I'm just making an animation because it's just an animated illustration. So what I like to do is I make a parameter for a specific movement, and then I immediately put it into the animation so that I can see what it looks like when it's moving. So when I see that something looks wrong, I could just edit it immediately instead of doing it all at once and then making it into an animation all at once. You probably won't get a good idea of what it'll look like if you do that. I know this isn't exactly a tutorial, it's a speed paint with me explaining what I'm doing, but all of the little dots here, that's every keyframe. I don't know how to explain this without giving a whole animation class, but TLDR, you as the animator, you have to decide the keyframes. And in manual animation, you or someone else will draw the in-betweens, but in this case, the computer will generate the in-betweens for you. So you decide at this exact second, I want this item to move all the way here, and then on the next second, I want this to happen, and stuff like that. Look, we're running out of time. The little Leah is done already. She's going to export this, and look at, yeah, she's done. If you want me to do an actual proper tutorial, maybe I'll do a stream where I make an illustration and I explain one by one properly. It's not that I can't teach, but it's really hard to explain something when you already just did it. It's much easier to explain when you're in the middle of doing it. So I promise I'll do better next time. I don't necessarily even need a new illustration to explain, I could totally just use my model and explain how to make an animation sequence. But yeah, that was me making an animation for Azami's stupid birthday. If my voice sounds annoying, don't worry, the mute button is there. You can watch it again from the beginning, but just make sure to press the mute button. Okay, thank you, goodbye.